Yes children, continuation with the previous video. Now we'll try to see how the blood is filtered. So the first process starts with ultrafiltration. Ultrafiltration. See, ultrafiltration children, you might have seen this is a tube, afferent arteriole. The diameter of the tube is more compared to the efferent arteriole. You see what is the difference? This is the that having wide lumen and it contains narrow lumen. So amount of blood is moving maximum because of the much more diameter. The blood is moving in a large amount, but respect to that the blood is moving outside is less. Why? Because lumen is narrow. The ratio of incoming and outgoing of blood is not similar. So because of that, in this glomerulus, in this part, glomerulus part, there is a volume of blood increases. And because of the increase the volume of the blood, there is a increase is the pressure of blood. It's electrostatic force is creating here. So you must know this is the bowl shaped structure, Bowman's capsule. So this is what the wall of Bowman's capsule is very thin and permeable in nature. Some pores are present here in the Bowman's capsule wall, right? So what happened? Because of the pressure exerted by blood in glomerulus, some part from the blood starts filtering, starts moving from this glomerulus to the wall of Bowman's capsule, and there is a collected here. This is called glomerular filtrate. What is called glomerular filtrate. Now the question is, what are the substances filtered from the glomerulus to glomerular filtrate? They may be glucose, they may be amino acid, they may be some hormones, they may be some minerals, some proteins, and some urea and little ammonia is also filtered from the glomerulus to the what? PCT. That filtrate is called glomerular filtrate. Clear? So this process is called ultrafiltration. I am explaining ultrafiltration, the first process of filtration of blood. What happened? Blood is moving through afferent arteriole into the glomerulus. The diameter of afferent arteriole is more than efferent arteriole. The blood is moving in large amount, in a high volume, but blood is moving in a very less amount because of narrower of lumen. So because of that, in glomerulus, the pressure of blood increases along with the increase of the volume of the blood, and it exerts pressure. There is a development of electrostatic force over there. Clear? And because of that pressure, some substances from the blood in the glomerulus start filtering through the wall of the Bowman's capsule. I have told the wall of Bowman capsule is very thin and permeable in nature. So some amount of substances filter. That filtrate is called glomerular filtrate. That contains amino acids, some proteins, some glucose, some enzymes, some nutrients, right? So till here this process is defined as ultrafiltration. Clear? Now this after ultrafiltration, the next process will start. What is next process? Selective reabsorption. Selective reabsorption. Now selective reabsorption start from here. Children, what is the important part? Each and every organ of the human body is surrounded by blood vessels, maybe arteries, maybe veins or capillaries. You must see each and every nephron is surrounded by so many of capillaries. You find, and if you see the NCERT textbook, the entire nephron is surrounded by capillaries. So here also you see so many capillaries are surrounded this nephron. So what happened? Now in selective reabsorption, this filtrate will move to these tubes. So first the filtrate, that we say the glomerular filtrate, start moving through the PCT. This is zigzag structure called proximal convoluted tubule. They started moving through this, and because of that, what happens? From this glomerulus filtrate, some beneficial nutrients like amino acids started reabsorbing. Who is reabsorbing? The blood which is present in the capillaries here. Now the substances like glucose is absorbed from the filtrate to the blood vessels. Clear? And the same way the filtrate is moving downwards. So here glucose, here some amount of amino acids are reabsorbed. You see what reabsorption. Here some amount of sodium chloride Na, some amount of chloride, some amount of phosphate are just reabsorbed till here. So this is called descending limb. This is called descending limb. U-shaped structure is called loop of Henle. It's very important. U-shaped structure, you must remember, U-shaped structure, loop of Henle. So in loop of Henle, there is reabsorption of some minerals, some glucose. Now this is what? It's moving up, ascending limb, where reabsorption takes place. It means the journey of reabsorption starts from here through PCT, descending limb, loop of Henle, ascending limb. It means filtrate is moving. Along with that, the nutrients, the beneficial substances are, even water is reabsorbed. Water is reabsorbed from the filtrate to the blood. Clear? And it takes place through ascending limb. Some amount of reabsorption of water can be seen in distal convoluted tubule, but we follow that and we consider that the absorption completes still ascendingly. Clear? Means reabsorption indicates from the glomerulus filtrate, whatever substances, beneficial substances, they are slowly and gradually reabsorbed by the capillaries which surrounded by nephrons. Now after third step start, that what? Tubular secretion. Tubular secretion. Now what happens in tubular secretion? That starts in DCT, distal convoluted tubule. Tubular secretion starts from DCT, distal convoluted tubule. What happens? Still this is also surrounded by capillaries, blood vessels. So from this blood, whatever harmful substances are present inside the blood of capillaries, so those substances are secreted. What is tubular secretion? Secreted from the blood to DCT. It means here we see these kinds of structure. You see, means from the blood some substances are moving, maybe urea, uric acid, hepatic acid, creatinine, phosphate, sulfate. Some materials are secreted from the blood to the DCT, distal convoluted tubule, and finally this process is called tubular secretion. So substances are secreted from the tube to another tube. From the tube means tube of capillaries, another tube means tube of DCT, and there is a secretion of water also. So whatever the liquid material is collecting, what? This is what? Urine. So urine is formed and further urine is collected into the collecting duct. And now this collecting duct is connected with ureter, and ureter connect to the urinary bladder, and this is the system, and this is the formation of urine, physiology for the formation of urine. That urine, if we talk about the composition part of the urine, maximum about 96% urine contains water. About 2.5% urine contains organic substances. About 1.5% that contain inorganic substances. So I want to say 96%, 95% to 6% water is available in urine. 2.5% organic substances are present, 1.5% inorganic substances are present. We say including urea, uric acid, hepatic acid, creatinine, phosphate, sulfate, and so many things are available. Another thing, what is the color of urine? Slightly yellowish. Yellowish because of it contains a pigment urochrome. Urochrome. You must remember, in urine, urochrome pigment is present, and because of that, urine is formed. So this is the structure that is very important. You must practice, and this is the physiology for the formation of urine with this ultrafiltration, selective reabsorption, and tubular secretion. I think this is clear to everybody. Clear? Now after this, in case if kidney is not functioning, there is a failure of the kidney, and reason may be so many reasons. If your life is not disciplined way, taking so many of stress, hypertension, there's lot of reason behind to damage of kidney. So what happens in case of damage of both the kidneys? These processes will be stopped. Your blood become poisoning, and it leads to death finally. So what happened? There is a hemodialysis. Hemodialysis option is called artificial kidney. The patient should move at a fixed interval of time for the further dialysis. Why? To filter the blood, to remove the toxic substances from the blood. So artificial kidney is what? It's a machine in which different chambers are formed, and each and every chamber is act like kidney. There's so many physiology functions are systematized, and the blood is moving from the patient from one end. It is hot, there is chamber, hot chamber, and finally there is a purification, and from the next end another condensation is there, condenser that cool the blood. It try to maintain the normal temperature, room temperature, and then from the next end that same blood is sent into the body of the human body. So these are, you must go through the NCERT. So this is all about the. In the next video we'll see how excretion takes place in case of plants. Thank you.